Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So a while back we made our top 5 mistakes made by new players video. It included a lot of basic mistakes that we figured we'd bring up. Not only to hopefully help some of you guys out, but also ourselves to prevent them from happening. Since then, Overwatch has been released and enjoyed by over 15 million people. But some basic incidents can still be avoided via a few simple tips and tricks. And because of this, we wanted to return to the topic and bring up the top 5 mistakes that people are still making. In no particular order, let's get started.
Overextending is a very common mistake, but it's not so much that it's happening a lot that's the issue, because obviously this happens even in high-level competitive play. This is more about some players genuinely not realizing that an easy pick-off right as the enemy team come out of the attacking spawn, overextending into the enemy spawn, or simply going too far with a push or counter push just simply isn't worth it. You buy your own team very little time and give the enemy team an advantage most of the time. I say most of the time because sometimes you really need to prioritize certain pickoffs. Either way, there are a couple of things you can do to avoid overextending and maintaining a good position. The first thing you do is ask yourself, is me possibly getting out of position to get this pickoff worth it? If it definitely is and you feel confident about you approaching the enemy, then go for it. But if you hesitate the slightest or you don't really know if it's worth your time at all, then just stay back and see where else you can be useful. You obviously have to be doing this naturally after a while, as you can't just take half a minute to think about every decision you make.
Next mistake we have on the list is not knowing how well you are actually doing. This might seem like a little weird thing to say at first, but honestly it's worth having a think about. Overwatch is a game designed to feel extremely satisfying and fun, and it will feel that way when you are doing okay. But this doesn't necessarily mean that you are carrying your team or even doing a good job, honestly. Take a step back and analyse your performance medals and other impactful events throughout the game. Also take a look at the enemy lineup as well as your own and decide if you can play against them on the hero that you are currently on. Maybe you're not doing so good and should actually be switching hero or adjusting your playstyle. Sometimes you have to realise that the problem is not a teammate of yours but in fact you. Acknowledging your mistakes is the first step towards fixing them, right?
With every hero, you have a goal to complete or target to take out. Target prioritizing is one thing, but players often slowly drifting away from their hero's initial goal is a whole nother. The nature of the Overwatch maps mean that one team will always have a shorter run back to the objective. This will mean that an advantage is given to whichever team have their spawn closer to the objective, which also means that this advantage is swapped between the two teams dynamically over time as the game goes on. To not drift too off topic, what I'm getting at is the fact that even a 1-for-1 trade with the enemy team might mean that you put your team at a disadvantage even though you got a kill from it. Keep this in mind when attacking and defending, and know when it's your job to stay alive rather than go for a kill. There are also role-specific rules for this, such as supports having to focus more on staying alive in all scenarios, and the DPS characters on your team needing to pick off enemy heroes to not put their own team at risk. Know your goal and stick to it.
And next on the list we have waiting instead of reacting. It's quite a common problem, but it's not a problem that's necessarily going to go away anytime soon. We see this in anything from low level quick play to high level competitive to a certain extent. Certain picks or strategies might catch a team off guard, or maybe one hero on the enemy team is just being played a lot better than any of the other ones. And a big common mistake here is that people wait for somebody else to kind of fix the problem. Without a full pre-made team, this is obviously an even bigger issue, as you won't naturally communicate as much, if at all, in some cases. Be the one that takes charge and takes action. Bring up the issue with your team and react, rather than waiting for somebody else to just do something about it on their own. Even if you aren't the one changing personally, then just bringing it up for discussion and getting people on your wavelength could be game changing.
And finally, following that, we have the common slip up of not paying attention to or even ignoring to use the ping wheel. Even if you're a full team, the ping wheel is incredibly helpful, and I'm sure you all know this. It quickly conveys information and saves you a lot of time and hassle when coordinating. Sure, the ultimate status of every character is displayed when looking at the scoreboard, but if you just take a second to ping your ultimate status using the ping wheel whenever you're close to or even have your ultimate, the hero voice line or chat prompt might be enough for someone to realize that you can combo your ultimates together, and this can be game changing. This can really make the difference in the heat of the moment, so please pay close attention to pings. Make sure to not spam ping though repeatedly, as saying "I need healing" won't make your Zenyatta respawn any faster. As a closing note, I also just want to say that these tips are really for anyone that needs them, rather than us accusing you, the viewer, of making these mistakes. We're not making this video because we think we're just the best at Overwatch, but the more people that keep these small mistakes in mind, the fewer will actually make them. And together, we'll simply become better at the game, right?
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know what mistakes you keep seeing in the game, and also give your tips and tricks in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, take care, we'll see you next time.